we have taken. So emp sal avg out. Okay, just we are making use of this thing. We are sending the rate p avg sal. So as a convention, just we are giving that, and then now we are making use of this select statement p avg sal. Okay, like that we are making. Uh, Friends, you can go on mute if you are not having any doubts. Otherwise, it creates some disturbance. Okay, we'll get the hamper in the recording also. So just you have a check on that. Now
Sorry,
what?
sir. Sorry for
Yeah.
the
Okay.
disturbance.
Yeah. Yeah. See, suppose I am running this particular statement, average sal 0. This is a typical initialization, friends. At the moment we are giving some variables and I am assigning the value then and there. That is the initialization actually. Now I want to print this value, which is giving 0. So now what we are doing is we are calling this particular procedure uh, with input parameter of the employee number as 11300. Now whatever the value populated by this particular procedure we are assigning. Okay, now you run this. Okay, so just you can run this, and if you are viewing this output area, again it is called employee sal, avg and all, and but again it is sorry friend, network trouble. So just based on that particular convention, one can easily observe how we can make use of these variables, friends. Okay, so just one row affected, and now we are running through entire aspects. Now you can see what exactly the value. Okay, so this is the way how you can to notify you, because procedure need not be called from that particular design, and you can call it from somewhere. Now let me take some one or two uh, specifications from you. What exactly the outcome, but I may not go entirely. Reason behind that is again we need to jump into some other discussion, at least logs and as well as introduction to the functions actually, so that we can have a discussion on that. Okay. Uh, if you are referencing, friends, the kind of the data, whatever we are talking about. So basically, just this particular data items helps us to work with. So whatever the items we are getting from the programmatical aspects, and then we are making use of those things into our requirement. According to our requirement, we are making use. Uh, Here two kinds of the variables we have seen. One is input variable, and second is the output variable. And if I am referencing, if I need to refer some kind of, let me share some diagram with you so that you can easily get into the point. Again, Wasim, you're on unmute actually. I don't know what is happening at your side. Go on mute, guys.
Sir, I have unmuted, not me.
Mute, okay. Yeah, let me mute myself. Yeah. Okay. Now, just observe here, friends. I am posting some kind of the information for you. Um, and one more just to see here, guys. Is a typical syntax along with the understanding of um, just a second. Spend some time here, guys. So here, just we are making use of the procedure, how we have taken employee average salary. Input parameter is something like where you can make use of the convention, like I want to send some employee number, and the output parameter. So whatever the code, maybe finding out of the average salary or finding out of the salary drawn by the employee in between, like that we have ventured multiple implementations as a part of our discussion. But latest we are landing upon the output parameter. It will represent the variable containing the output value of the operation executed by the query of the stored procedure. See the how we are expecting the output value. That output value is just generated by the query as a resultant of the query. And based on that particular query generation, we are going to copy, because there is something like into actually. So that particular into is something like which is helping us to get the data which is populated by our whatever the procedure, whatever the value generated by the PLSQL code. Uh, if you are referencing the kind of the variables, if someone asks you how do you use these particular variables and what is the advantage, then you can easily specify that based on our requirement. Every time if you create a procedure containing both in and as well as the out, we have to use the select into structure. So this particular select into structure, what it does is just if you are making use of this convention, friends, especially in the usage of our output variable, output parameter, in a most classical way, we can say that uh, this output parameter, okay, so which is something like we need to populate from the program, and as a resultant of that particular programmatical aspect, we are going to map the data into the output parameter. And two important things, of course, as the name implies, these input parameters are helping us to assign the value to the program by the user. That point you can observe, however, here. Okay, so directly, and one question I want to ask you here, can I directly mention 11300 instead of this input parameter? Okay, so what I mean to say is um, here just I want to make use of the equation like this: 11300, like this. Let it be the employee number, no problem. We are absolutely fine with that. And we want to get the information. Maybe always I may not be interested to use this particular input parameter, but at the moment, according to the requirement, I want to make use of that convention. So simply I'm selecting the appropriate statement up to delimiter, and I want to run. So it seems successfully I got the procedure execution. Okay. So and now if I want to call this, okay, though I have given this particular thing and I am calling this particular convention. Okay, so you can run. and expectation is satisfied. But a little modification. So dynamically I am doing. So just I am hiding this area. And this time my intention is just I am giving a try friends, completely removing this thing. I am not submitting any input parameter, and let me run through whatever the values. View this panel. Yes, now also um, the appropriate procedure created without any problem. So directly we are generating this output, but while calling, okay, already we have given this thing now. So just I am removing this. Again, I am running through this notion. Okay, so the point you have to observe is there is no mandate, friend. That's what I'm saying. Program or implementation or coding should come from the heart. Okay, you should enjoy the coding, and that's what I'm always insisting. Though even I am giving 100 examples or 100 conceptual explanations in the world of development, one not one task would be there. That is the first point. Second important thing is you should think through one or two, not one not one. You should think through one or two like that. So this is keep on changing. You need to based on the need. Maybe sometimes I need not give any input. By default, I can specify this kind of the input data. That's absolutely fine. So only the convention is just you can make use of this thing. And I want to perform some kind of the activity. And this also let me add to our code snippets so that you can try and practice. So however, I'll be sharing this by evening. Let me save this my SQL codes. So as a practice kind of thing, you can have a look on that. Okay, so here though the input and output parameters are available in the landscape of our procedures, you can exclude, because initially if you observe, we have seen without any parameters, we have seen the procedure, and we jumped into the with input parameter procedure running, and then now we have seen input and as well as the output parameter, and there is a chance of excluding the input parameter, and you can play around with the output parameter. So in a way, the procedures can be distinct and the process is same. Okay, but only the in terms of calling, okay, there are little changes because according to the requirement, maybe initially I may select if I'm only having the input parameter, I need to give this. Whereas if I'm having both input and output parameter, I have to use this particular convention. If I'm only having a single output parameter, I can go with this convention. And one more option, actually as a first option, I would say, just let me put in the comment section. So there is no restriction of using the parameter or not using the parameter or using all the parameters. So it all depends on exactly your requirement. So uh, with this, you can have the observation of the procedures where these particular procedures generally, friends, procedure won't reply or return any value. Just that point you observe. But in the execution of this particular procedure, for the sake of the versatility, as we're having the chance of running the procedure without any input and output parameters. And it is always a good programming practice to run through the input parameter. The most preferable way of working with the procedure is, of course, you can make use of the input parameter, and based on that particular thing, you can run the query, the procedure. And the third and rare combination is sometimes there is a possibility of checking your output then and there. So you want to specify the input parameter, and at the same time you want to estimate the output also. So you can make use of the third kind of aspect. Okay. So this is what how you can utilize the narration of procedures without any input and output parameter, and with input parameter, and with input and output, and with only output parameter. But before the break, I left with one option, that is the locking mechanism, friends. Um, that particular locking mechanism is something like where we need to discuss the points like how we can achieve this particular locking. Though it is we have seen that particular context of the locking in terms of our procedures, but locking is very common topic in database scenarios. To set the context, friends, in the procedure, after right clicking this, we got to know that there is one more option called create stored procedure. And after clicking on this, you will be redirected to a kind of the procedure name. And then you give some kind of the things and end, and thereafter just you apply. And from this, you will be reached to the some kind of the window. Uh, this particular thing allows us with the two options. One is the algorithm, and second is the lock. So in the algorithm, again, we are having default in place, copy. In the locking, we are having default, none, shared, exclusive. Okay, so algorithm wise, we're pretty clear. DevOps team, and maybe you're running the appropriate code in the on-premise. It is absolutely fine to use the default. Nothing distinct with that. Only if any external team members are entering into our team, that DevOps guys, they will take care about those kind of things. That is the context of the algorithm. But whereas the locking wise, default, however, whatever the process we're having, and none, there is no kind of the locking, nothing to discuss about that. But whereas if I am observing the locking, there are other options called shared and exclusive. Now to set the context, let me give you some example. So we are having a DB data with us where the employee sal is uh, some kind of $5678. So just we are making use of this particular data, and our friend saw who is axing. Praveen is axing. Sai also axing. Okay. Now Sahu, assume that this particular data is freely available without any restriction. Okay, the case is like that. Sahu, what he does is he picked up the data, not done anything, and Praveen accessed the data and he updated that data to 5698. Maybe at that month, that guy got some incentive, maybe for publishing an article or writing a blog or something like that. So just he got some incentive. And he is not updated the data. The data is with him only. Now Sai, what she does is okay, so just she accessed the data, and again she has done some modification maybe and updated the data. Now you see the scenario, guys. At Sahu we are having one version of the data. At Praveen we are having the another version, and with Sai we are having another version. And of course, out of these three, one version v3 is there with the database also. So what is the problem, guys? I'm taking pause here. You can use the chat window because which is a more dangerous scenario I have put across you. Like we are working on the database which is commonly shareable. The value is 5678 across the that particular database. So Sahu, Praveen, and Sai are working on it as a team. They are working and they are trying to access that particular data. So Sahu accessed that data, and now what he get is I'm extending this thing. He is getting 5688. Now Praveen committed this data. So from 5698 to now 5688 to 5698 it become because he has updated the data. But Sahu is still working with the old version. He modified something. Something like maybe some more data we added. Assume that. Now this data is completely not the latest version. This is some old data. See how ambiguous situation we are facing with the small variable, with the small value. If all the three guys are keep on accessing that particular data, this much chaos has been created by the not exactly because nothing wrong with the members also because they are not having any information or notification about how they need to use these kind of the data items because this is a most common scenario where the database should address in a stringent way. Okay, so let me take the answers. What exactly the issue? Oh, still you are with in and out. Huh? Okay, just to come out of that zoner. Ah, Sahu, very good. Unrepeatable read problem occurs in this scenario. Not read problem actually. Reading can be done, but updation is done by Sai and
It means that
uh, mm,
hello.
yeah, I am hearing. Yeah, Sahu, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, it means that the first user is using the old version
Ah,
and performing the operation with that version, while the data has been changed.
correct.
Uh,
That means, friends. Suppose, yeah, let me put this way. Uh, Now what we're doing is we are not allowing any user to update. We are only allowing them to read the data. So that Sahu is only reading. He is not allowed to perform writing. And Praveen is also not doing anything. He only used to read the data. Sai also allowed to read the data because with reading we are not going to get any ambiguity, friends. With writing or with updating only, if proper updation, if proper writing is not done, then only we are ending up our usage of the database in most inconsistent way, I would say. This is a dirty data. It's a corrupted data, which is absolutely uh, not ending up with quality data. So as our friend rightly said, um, as we are unnecessarily, not unnecessarily, as we are just like that, we are getting the data and one user is not aware of another user access and they are feeling that I only access this particular data due to the property of the isolation. Then in that particular case, we end up with these kind of inconsistent data items. Let me go through the other possibilities. Prevent loss of data occurs. Actually, this is ambiguous data, which is the incorrect data. The data which is accessed by the users simultaneously. All the users are trying to access the data and they want to perform some kind of activities. And at the moment we are Yeah, of course, Harish, as Harish rightly pointed, for others the data will change actually. That means even Sai is modifying, Praveen is modifying, and Sahu accessed the version of Sai, but in between Praveen committed some other update of the data, which is not reflecting in Sahu's updation. These are all the implications, friends, actually. So we cannot stop the users to concurrently access the data. But at the same time, though we are accessing concurrently, there should be some point where there is a chance of handling the criteria in such a way that though they allow to access the data simultaneously or concurrently, but still there should be some norm. There should be some kind of uh, criteria should be there. Okay, so though we should not stop using the data by the user concurrently. It is a bad idea, friends. You may come up with one solution like, okay, can we stop the users to access the data and we allow them in a queue if Sahu is accessing the data and performing some activity, and Praveen should wait, and vice versa. More sequential kind of thing. And what is the problem with that, friends? Can we use the resources efficiently? Never. We cannot, because the ultimate goal of any product is we have to access that data in the distributed manner, and we have to apply the procedures in parallel. That is the main important motto. So, but despite having those kind of issues, we should come up with one solution. Not we should not leave that particular problem, and we should not restrict the user so as to distributedly concurrently accessing the data item. So there we are exactly. Now we are having the concept of the locking mechanism. So a locking mechanism. So what do you mean by lock actually? Lock means unavailability of the data to the other users until the current lock is disabled in a straightforward way. But in the procedure discussion, we have seen two types of the locks. One is the shared lock. Second is the exclusive lock. Okay, rather than me explaining, what I will do is let me pull some narration here. So I have gone through some blog which is very good, and let me pull those statements, friends. Okay, so those statements really help us to understand um, the insight of the locks actually. So somewhere I have kept, yeah, exclusive and shared lock. Just trying to get the content to you. Okay, this one. Now have a look on this, guys. So exclusive lock, or which is known as a write lock, gives a process exclusive access for writing to the specified part of the file. While a write lock is in place, no other process can log that part of the file. Okay, first we'll focus on the write lock, friends. Okay, exclusive. The term exclusive in case of database is having a separate meaning, friends, actually. Exclusively means maybe we are having the subscription of the ORLE, and that ORLE exclusive subscription. Maybe I can register orally on 15-day trial period or something like that, but I may not get the entire access of the resources. Whereas if I register maybe on behalf of company or on behalf of some kind of the vendor, okay, so that we can access the information exclusively. That means complete. So here write log gives a process exclusive access. Assume that in the earlier scenario, friends, in the earlier scenario, just the Sahu, maybe he's trying to get the complete information on top of the employee data. So he's going to get exclusive access for writing to the specified part of the file. That is specified part only, na? Because we are not going to uh, uh, assign employee numbers, department data or designations, but only we are working on the employee salary. And that too, maybe that particular employee due to his efficiency in the team, just he will be added, appreciated with a little incentive. So that incentive, just we are getting that part of the file. But here is the problem. Maybe parallelly multiple incentives are there. Maybe he is working for our Canada project and he is going to get incentive from Canada. And maybe he is getting the incentive from UK and Malaysia project also. So because he's a team player, it's a nice critical resource. So all over the destinations wherever he is working, he is going to get the incentives. That is the issue actually here. You would have asked this question, incentive means only one, then why Praveen is updating one value and why Sai is updating one value and why Sahu is updating one value? Reason is pretty simple. Maybe his visibility is in all the locations and accordingly he is going to claim that particular incentive or company that particular part of the that um, from that location he's getting the appreciations. Now with that, if you are referencing right log, this point is most important, friends, and where you are end up our difficulty with this thing actually. While a right lock is in place, that means while Sahu is writing on employee data, especially in the salary information, no other process can log that part of the file. No other process in the sense, maybe the member who want to write the data, okay, maybe Praveen or Sai, they are also trying to update that particular salary information. But the point here is no other user is allowed to do that until, okay, that's what I said now. Once the lock is disabled, okay, so here the point, unavailability of the data to the other user until the current log is disabled. So until Sahu commits or roll back the appropriate transaction, that particular portion of the data is unavailable to the Praveen or Sai. So in a way, Sahu can access and write the data, and once he updates the data, then only they can do the modification. Let me put in this way. So now we are having the DB with us. Uh, Maybe Wasim, data we are having. Okay. Now Sahu initially processing the data, and he clearly mentioned I am writing something on this 5050, and this is exclusive lock. Okay, that means even Praveen is trying to access or Sai is trying to access, they will get the message under exclusive lock. Under exclusive lock. So obviously Praveen and Sai are not able to modify that. When they are going to get is after unlocking this thing, and there is a timestamp one, timestamp two, like the timestamp also there. Timestamp you pretty know. whenever the user request for a resource, at what time he raised the request with the priority, because the earlier we attempt the access of the resource, that is the priority actually. Okay, maybe I'm particular about this. 12:10 he has given the request. 12:11 Sai has given the request. This is the timestamp is also very clear. Now, once Sahu modified this from Malaysia location, Sahu is working and they has given the intensive of $10. Okay, and he updated the appropriate data as 5060. Now there is no more 5050. Now, after committing this particular thing into our database, now it is the turn of the Praveen, because it is very clear that from the timestamp Praveen is having the eligibility of accessing the data. So that lock is over, then Praveen can access the data. Now he is getting 5060. So that means no ambiguity, nothing. Only one version of the variable is available. Now Praveen got to know that, okay, I have to give some incentives to Wasim, like 5075 from Canada location. Okay, so now he need to commit that data, and now this $5060 overridden as 5075. So now he has done, and now the turn of Sai, and no other competitor is there. So straight away Sai can access this data 5075. Uh, now as a part of the voucher, okay, maybe some $200 they want to sponsor for a certification. Now just 5275. And now Sai is updating 5275. So this is how we can achieve the originality of the data without any problem, friend, because in the earlier situation, entire ambiguity is we have seen, entire nonsense we have seen. Okay, though the intention is like this, maybe Sahu operates from Malaysia and he want to give the incentive for Wasim, done, but not properly reflected in other areas. And then at the same time, Praveen, without any timestamp or without any stoppage, just like that, Praveen is also updating. And he, before updating, in between Sai accessed the data, and she also updated the data. But it is not known to either of the Sai and Praveen, Sahu and Praveen. But finally, we end up our value with some kind of inconsistent data. Okay. Now there is a concept called locking mechanism where one can easily handle these kind of the situations without any problem. So we were talking about the exclusive lock or write lock, and we have taken some simple scenario of offering some kind of the incentive for Wasim's contribution to company. So just we are making use of this particular scenario from Malaysia, Canada, and UK. So like that, we're having different zoners. The members who access the data and they can exclusively use that particular data, and then only they can able to unlock. And once one user unlocked the data, and the other user is permitted to access the data, provided after completion of all the transactions, maybe either commit or rollback. Okay, sometimes maybe they withdraw the option of giving the $200, then they can simply withdraw that, and you can end up your data with 5075. That is absolutely fine. But it's always not expecting to complete the data with commit or rollback. It is always possible to do in either way. So that is one thing. And here the question is, if any writing process is there, then only the appropriate member can wait, and only one member is allowed to access the data. The other way is maybe the across the globe. Okay, so they want to observe the members, okay, who are all in the process of the incentives, maybe Wasim, Shahid and Srinidhi. Okay, like that, Harish, some members are there in the stack actually. So we need to provide, we need to access the data at least. Maybe HR want to announce the names to the entire member so that we can also get to know that, oh, these guys are performing outstanding in our company. So for that particular purpose, reading can be done from anywhere, because if it is coming to the updation or modification or writing something, then there is a chance of ambiguity and all. But whereas at the moment I am talking about the reading process, that is there, you can make use of this shared lock. So uh, this particular shared lock is something like, friends, a shared lock or read lock prohibits any other process from requesting a write. If you are only performing the reading operation, there should not be any write lock on the specified part of the file. However, okay, the other process can request for the writing, because reading. Okay, so reading can be done any number of times, because we are not going to update any data. We are not going to modify any data. Even 1,000 members are keep on reading that particular data. Nothing is going to happen to the original data. Okay, so that is the analogy behind lock technique. Now in a single liner, you guys can give the difference between lock, exclusive and shared lock. I'll wait and let me pull some other statements to clarify and to explain more. This particular thing is a bit more actually that I felt that, okay, this is also helpful to our guys, so that I have taken the this part also. Let me bigger the screen. Okay, now just let me format these, friends, in between. This is the exclusive lock. We separate these things involved. And yes, you lock. And here is the shared lock. And both the things are same, friends, whatever I have explained here, but it is a simple definition kind of thing. But it is giving some conceptual understanding of uh, what is the distinction between shared and exclusive. Um, okay, so just you can observe, guys, here. Exclusive lock mode prevents the associated resource from being shared. That means only one user at a time can access the data, and sharing of that particular data for the right purpose is prohibited. And moreover, the main purpose of this particular lock is to modify the data, because we should be very clear that before applying any locking, suppose sorry, friends, some network issue. Okay, it is heavy rain here, but still we are managing. Okay, sorry for that. And now, if you are observing, uh, you should be very clear that, so whether we are going to update anything or whether we are going to modify or whether we are simply reading the data. And if you are simply reading the data, you need not put the exclusive lock, because in a way it is restricting other user to access the data. That is not our intention. Our intention is to avoid the ambiguity and to avoid the unnecessary updation of the data. Okay, so that is the major important thing. So the lock, you have to decide whether you are going to modify anything, then only you claim for the exclusive lock. The first transaction to lock a resource exclusively is the only transaction that can alter the resource until the exclusive lock is released. This is one more important point actually, because okay, if you are referencing uh, the kind of the data, this is not good. Okay, yeah, this color you can see. So the first transaction, whatever it is locking, maybe Sahu locked, that I have given the example. Sahu locked the data, a resource exclusively, is the only transaction that can alter the resource. This is altering the resource, and Praveen and Sai has to wait, have to wait until release of this Sahu, this transaction. So that can alter the resource until the exclusive lock is released. Okay, so this is pretty clear. Shared lock, nothing. Uh, complex. So shared lock mode allows the associated resource to be shared depending upon the operation involved. Depending upon the operation means only a reading process. Actually, I would say it is a reading process. Multiple users reading data can share the data. Holding share locks to prevent concurrent access by a writer. Okay, so because one more problem is there, friends. That problem is maybe already that data is in writing mode, but we are claiming for the reading. Can we get the right data, friends? Can we get the right data while someone is writing something and we want to read the
No,
data? Definitely not,
no,
because Sahu is modifying and Praveen and Sai are trying to read the data. At least for the sake of the analysis also, we may not get the proper data because still the HR people are figuring out who are all the members in the appraisal and who are all the members in the incentive window without announcing those names, whether Wasim or Sharif or Harish. There is no chance of what after announcing the incentive, then only we any other department can add the corresponding incentive according to the instructions of the management. So that's what while performing the reading also, if that observation or that particular resource is under the write mode, that is also not going to work out, friends. So holding share logs to prevent concurrent access by a writer who needs an exclusive lock. Now tell me one point. If any member, maybe Sahu, uh, applied exclusive lock on the table, can we raise the read lock, friends? Can we access? Can we apply read lock? Maybe Praveen or Sai can apply read lock once Sahu establish the exclusive lock. Can we achieve that?
no,
Never, because
can't do that.
the point is that one only, na? Because see here, very simple, guys. Sahu is modifying something. We won't get any uh, proper data. Again, there is ambiguity. Is there any valid point, friends? Though we are getting the temporary results, though we are getting the inconsistent results, though we are getting the erroneous results, can we depend on that? Never, because database is something like which is always giving the consistent data, which is always giving the quality data. In that particular case, if any member is acquired the exclusive lock and it is meaningless to read the temporary data, which is absolutely generating the wrong results. Once once Sahu is issuing the commit and once he releases the lock after rollback, then only the read or write lock can be established by other persons. That is the whole story behind this particular locking mechanism, and several transactions can acquire share locks on the same resource. This is a pretty simple point because this particular point is only allowing us to read the otherwise, one problem is there. some or other user simultaneously or at a time they are performing writing operation. So there is no chance of reading something. So in that particular case, if you are putting the share lock, automatically we can say that okay, with respect to that particular table, all people are reading the data. No problem. If any, even I am having 100 logs related to the shared mode, never mind, because that is not going to create any impact on the update or writing operation. Then there is absolutely no issue related to those kind of the conventions. Okay, so with this I'm stopping here, guys, and before breaking, let me ask you one question. um, what is the status? You can quickly give me the status of what exactly the assignment I have given in the yesterday session, individual assessment, that is two. So just in between you can type and update me in the chat window so that I won't touch you until Monday. Maybe here and there afternoon I may ask you to share the status maybe around 3 or 3:30 something, because again weekend na, so you may be having your own plans. It is perfectly all right, no problem. You can take your thing, but perform those things until the office hours. So so that you can finish, because my strong suggestion would be complete your task before weekend. You need not sacrifice anything for work. Okay, work if is there, you have to sit and complete. Don't postpone till to tomorrow. That is a basic understanding. So just to complete that thing, friends. Maybe you sit extra hour and then you finish the task tomorrow and day after tomorrow, whatever you want. And even I am not releasing the appropriate batches, the batch work also. Maybe, you know, whatever suppose even I am releasing also, no problem. Just to notify you exactly. Maybe I ask you some kind of the functional aspects from the team. Okay, those things definitely, if you feel I'm having much time and I don't want to involve in any other activity and I'm absolutely fine to learn, then it's perfectly all right, friends. Okay, so Shahid is saying only just I'm currently on the join operation. Okay, no problem. And if I'm having any doubt, I won't get any doubts on you, friend, because I am training you and I am definitely I am believing you, and I am expecting you to in line with my mindset. That's it, nothing else. So there is no other else condition, only if is there, that's all. And moreover, yeah, before yeah, just to type and so that I can go and see what exactly you have done. Maybe in between afternoon also you can update me around 3:30 or 4, so that I can also have some look, okay, what these guys are doing. That is the first point. Okay. Now, before taking the break, let me clear what exactly the key takeaways of today's session, so that we can have a nice weekend. So key takeaways. So just we started our discussion with the procedures. Procedure without parameter, with in parameter, with in and out parameter, with only out parameter. Okay, so these things in the context of the procedure, already we have seen delimiter, $, and then calling the procedure. And in the procedure calling, again we are having a typical call and automate. You can automate the corresponding procedure calling. Next one. This particular procedure involved the algorithm and lock mechanism. So with respect to procedure, we have come across these things. And second topic we come across is the locking mechanism, where we have seen exclusive or write lock, read lock. Okay. Until generally locking is a mechanism where until the release of that particular lock, no other user is permitted. Especially if exclusive lock or write lock is there, then only single user can modify the data. Okay. And shared or read lock, which helps us to understand the process of okay establishing some kind of reading performance, right? Okay. And just these things we have observed. And coming to the next session, so to keep you informed, in the next session, I'm going to introduce you the concept of the functions, the most frequently used stored functions. Second one is the variables, which are also known as parameters. So this discussion, and then based on the timing, so just I'll introduce you the concept of the triggers also. Okay, so with that, just we can take a break here, guys. Afternoon, however, just that
I have a
task.
question, sir.
Please go ahead. Who is that?
Uh, Sir Asru
Ah,
Sahu. Yes.
so tell me.
Sir, in a booking site,
Mm,
while some users are reading the status and other users are performing transactions,
mm,
how this locking mechanism is effectively maintained with respect to time?
mm. What is that booking you are saying in the
Let's
railway
say
reservation or something?
airline or
Airline.
booking sites
Okay,
or
whatever.
train. Yes, sir.
So airline booking. Now let me tell you this point, friends. Maybe you are looking for A2 and A1. These are all the seats. Now you booked out these particular two seats. Before that, you may be allowed to view the appropriate the corresponding layout actually. Okay, just you can see this particular layout, and there they clearly specify which gender you are going to reserve the seat. Now you would have selected A1, some A2 kind of the seat. So provided first this particular thing is in the reading mode, friends, actually. Okay, maybe Sahu can access or Harish can access because it is a distributed environment. Until you complete the reservation, then only the locking will be there. So everyone can see at this moment as a first step, everyone can see the appropriate seating arrangement and all these things. Okay, in the reading mode actually. Now Sahu decided to reserve two tickets out of these particular maybe 30 or 35, and he want to reserve two tickets, and he selected those tickets actually. Okay, he blocked those tickets, and it confirms that A1, A2, and it opens the checkout option. It opens the checkout option. Now the problem is maybe due to the net banking issue or maybe credit card or debit card issue, Sahu could not complete the payment. Could not complete the payment. Now let me take this way. Even Sahu access in the next minute the same kind of the flight and same kind of the numbers. These are under the blocked state only. If you remember, if you recollect from your experience of the reservation of airline or whatever, though you are the owner and you placed that particular blocking of A1 and A2 and you are about to check out, but due to the network net banking issue, you could not complete the task. Again, you came back to this original website and you have tried to reserve the same tickets until some 10 minutes or 12 minutes, maybe I don't know. Now they are long back I have reserved, but now we are working from home now, no reservation, nothing. So 10 to 12 minutes earlier, but now they would have reduced this to 3 or 4 minutes, provided even for the same user also you may not allow to get the thing. The point here is, guys, on the other way, the other option is he blocked the tickets and he tried to check out and he connected with the corresponding bank server, confirm, and he will be getting the itinerary of the confirmation of the A1 A2, and he can take a printout or he can get the mail and as well as SMS, okay, about the confirmation. But the other way around, if any failure is there, if any issue is there in the payment process, A1 A2 will be blocked up to some time, no matter whether Sahu is accessing or Harish is accessing, because it is under transition actually. Nothing happened. Okay, he just blocked the, he just selected that seats, but he could not perform the checkout process due to the network issue. So in that particular case, though Sahu is also Sahu is trying to access, but still he has to wait up to the stipulated time of the transaction. Then only he is going to resolve the same. Okay, so accordingly, the writing and reading process would be done. And blocking is done by the application itself, friends, uh, because application is not aware of whether he is doing the transaction. Maybe sometimes transaction is taking some time, and after receiving his OTP, again he need to go and open his messages or mail, because we don't know now whether he connected with the mail or whether he connected with the mobile, or in what way he is going to get the OTP by which means. So they give some 2 to 3 minutes of the time to complete the process, the transaction. In that particular case, no other user is allowed to block these kind of tickets. Okay, so that is how you can refer the orientation of the appropriate booking the tickets and accessing the data items. Okay, so that is the ways, Sahu, actually. Maybe if you are referencing these kind of the conventions, see, taking 3 hours or 4 hours of the time to create and insert the data is not recommended, Satish. Okay, you have to move forward. Okay, because by this time, because I don't want you to create 10 different tables and 100 insertions for all the things. But only the thing is, it is like a simple project, is a mini project where you take some 2 to 3 tables with some 20 or 30 records. And don't take much time, guys, because it uh, though it is merged with Saturday and Sunday, just for the sake of you only, I have given that time. But don't take that as a consideration. Only 2 days I am considering, but I thought of asking to submit before Friday 12 night. But I first time na, so definitely I want you to give some time, because I don't know what skills you are earned in the SQL kind of thing. That's what I have taken a chance of giving you the preparation time, a little extra time. Maybe if you could not perform the appropriate things in the stipulated time, maybe you can use the weekends, but that may not always be the case. Maybe sometime, the client may ask us to give the update on Friday morning by just giving the 2 days. Maybe you get the information on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, US or UK timing. In Indian time, you have to update to your manager on Friday morning. So with that, as I said, na, I keep all these points in my mind, and I want you to grow in holistic manner. You are definitely a good programmer, but in addition to that, you should be a good human being, like, to adhere to the timelines and to uh, get best out of you and self motivated. And of course, from next week onwards, we are working on the team building skills actually. So team building in the sense, maybe if any member is low due to some fever or some issue, and you should be taking the activities and how you are going to perform. All these things I am trying to embed in our this general discussion, friend, because it's not only the advanced SQL part technically and conceptually, but also just I am making use of your capabilities to meet the expectations of the client, and in a way we are going to give the best out of our team. Okay, so keep that point in mind, friends, and don't waste the time. Just you pick up and complete the process early, and I am more than happy if you submit early also. That also, I don't say that is a rubric, but I will consider that to elect you as a top performer of the batch. Maybe I can consider that point as to announce the thing, because before the deadline, if you are submitting the task to the manager or higher apps, automatically there are, if any revisions or modifications are there, we can use that thing efficiently to modify or revise the things. Always there is a room for betterment, improvement. So keeping that particular point in mind, so just you pick up fast and complete the aspects. And I don't overboard you in the lunch time. So just I want to notify you guys, and I will go through once the process is completed. Okay, then I'll ask you in between maybe to update the status and complete the task as early as possible. So that's all, guys. With this, I am stopping here. So if you are still having any doubts, you can stay back and we'll have a discussion, uh, and others can leave. Okay, so that's all for today's session. Okay, always you are open to post the doubts in the chat window or Slack mode. And Sahu has projected me some portion of the work. That is also one good practice, friends. Maybe in between, while designing or while specifying or while working on something, and if you show that particular aspect to your teammates or manager, so that they can also know that oh, this guy is performing in this way, and they may suggest something. Or else maybe you're in need of any help from the senior members or from your manager, so definitely you can acquire that information also in a way. Okay, there are all small tricks, like how you portray your work, and how whether you are going in a proper way. You should know that all these kind of the conventions are very much helpful to revise your work and to reach to the higher levels, right? So thank you, guys. Thank you very much for your time to spend with me in the journey of advanced SQL. We are trying our level best, and we are progressing uh, in a good way. So from the next week onwards, the context is very simple. I'll be sharing the invites, maybe Monday and Tuesday sessions. So there, the leftover aspects, some functions, triggers, and let me see how can I scope the window functions and all, so that we can complete. And in between, I'll post some batch activities and projects, so that I want to see how you are because individually I have assessed except one member. Maybe I can take Monday, Srinidhi's presentation Monday afternoon. So, but others, okay. However, you are now formed a batch kind of thing. So those batches will be allocated the corresponding tasks. I'll be keep posting on the Slack mode, friends. Have a look on that. Um, with that, we can wind up the session. Okay. So that's all, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sahu. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, ma.
Thank you.
Bye. Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir.